World, I use the Charity Prioritization and Delegation book. I use Virtual ATI. I use TechManik.com, and I used a Kaplan Premiere book. Actually, this Kaplan Premiere book. Ooh, I didn't mean to get up on your screen like that. But so this Kaplan Premiere book, I did not really use this book that much. Out of all of my resources, this was the one that I least used, or used the least. And it's an okay book, but I didn't use it to my fullest, and that was just because I started looking at it after I had finished my UWorld QBank, and I was just like over resources at this point. I did use the first part of the book, which is something that, you know, it speaks about answering questions and like the 10 different branches of how you can answer questions, and I will say that that was very helpful. Excuse me. So if you I don't know, Kaplan for me, first of all, I didn't want to use it because it was too expensive. It was like over $500, and I just really think that's ridiculous. And also, it doesn't have 100% pass rate, but I don't know if any resource really does, to be quite honest. But I just really was like, I'm not going to take a chance with Kaplan that cost me so much and fail. So that's why I ended up using UWorld, which I had heard a lot about. My averages for UWorld, my first assessment, I did it on like the 15th of May or the 16th, and I got like a 56%. I was in like the 46th percentile, and that was considered a high chance of passing. My second assessment I took like a week ago, last Tuesday, and I got like a 64%, 76th percentile, and that's a very high chance of passing. Both to me, where I was just like, they're both low grades, and I don't understand how they're high chance of passing. But I was like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna pass, cool. And I ended up finishing my UWorld QBank like maybe 2 weeks ago, and then I went over all of the questions that I got wrong. What I did also was just read every single rationale regardless of whether I got it right or wrong. I didn't really look over a rationale unless I really understood a question, and for me those were only like the therapeutic communication questions, or you know, something just really obvious or something. So there was that. I didn't really take any type of notes at all. I'm not really a note taker, and I was never a note taker in nursing school. This is the only thing that I use to take notes, and I'm configuring it.
I'm zooming out so you can see the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I use this to take notes, and I only use like the first 5 pages of this. That's all I wrote. I was like, to me, it's very time consuming when you do that. I know a lot of people say that, you know, that works for them, and like they rewrite stuff and that really works. For me, it just seems like it's time consuming, and I really don't like handwriting stuff. So I only wrote notes really on things that I really thought was essential to remember, and on like, I only took notes on the questions that I had gotten wrong and I went over. So I only did that for that, and I really only looked over those like maybe a couple times. So this is the Charity Prioritization and Delegation book. It's very thin and it's very easy to get through. I only did the multiple choice. You know how it looks. You guys have seen this before. You can look it up on Amazon, and I'll put the link, you know, in the description box below. But there's that, and I only did the actual multiple, like I didn't do any of the case studies at all because I just did not feel like doing that. And I rented it, actually. I rented it, so you don't actually have to purchase this book. You can rent it, and that makes it cheaper. UWorld is very affordable. I did a 2-month subscription, so that I had started doing a small amount of questions in like April, and then I really vigorously started studying in May right after graduation, where I did 75 questions a day. I did start out like my first 75 question test was like 43%, which was below average, and of course that, you know, made me feel discouraged, but I kept practicing, you know, questions every day, and my grades got better. I had never gotten a low score like that. Again, that was my first terrible score and was my last one. And ever since that grade, I had always gotten average and above average. And my last few 75 question tests when I finished my Q bank was like in the high 60%. When I overall finished my Q bank, before I had started redoing the questions I had gotten wrong, I think I had gotten like 60% of all the questions right and like 39.5% wrong. So I was done with that. What else will I say? Let me look at my little notes here. Oh yes, virtual ATI. Specifically virtual ATI, I will say that if you guys have the opportunity to use that resource, definitely use it to the best of your ability. I used UWorld mostly. I would do 75 questions in the morning or really in the afternoon because I knew that's when I wanted to test. So I would do 75 questions in the afternoon, and then next I would look at like after I finished all that, and that included like doing it on timed mode, untutor, and I would mix up all the questions because I wanted anything as close to NCLEX as possible. So after doing all of that in the afternoon, then I would go on to my virtual ATI. And the way virtual ATI is set up is that it has like virtual ATI. This is kind of the look that it has, and in each of these modules there's like quizzes to test yourself before you do the assessment, and after the assessment you have a virtual ACI coach who will come and it's like a person. They'll mediate your assessments with you. So I got it through my school and you didn't have to pay for it. I just wanted to utilize all of my resources. Maybe 7 different modules, and I'm going to like put pictures of this so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. But 7 different modules on each of the different subjects, and I just wanted to give you guys an idea of how the assessment breaks down everything. This was one of my mental health assessments. As you can see, we all you should know if you know the NCLEX test plan. It's broken down into 8 parts, and ATI breaks down each of your assessments like this. You can see your weaknesses and strengths like this. That's like fundamentals, leadership, pediatrics, all that. When you are finished with virtual ATI, it kind of gives you a breakdown of how you did on each assessment for a subject and how it correlates to the NCLEX test plan and the different parts of the NCLEX test plan. When you're done with virtual ATI, you are a predictor to test your readiness for the NCLEX, which will give you a green light. Here I got a 79.3. That's equivalent to a 90% chance of passing the NCLEX first time, and I was able to get my green light. It also breaks down everything like a science, like how the NCLEX is. So yeah, just want to show you guys that. I really liked that. I really felt like that really gave me an idea of my weaknesses and strengths. After I would finish with that in the afternoon, I would probably do like 1 virtual ATI assessment a week. And overall, I think virtual ATI took me like around 6 weeks. So when that was done with and I did my assessment, however well I did, anything that I didn't really understand, I would actually go over with TechManik.com, which so here is just like what I see when I go into my TechManik account, and it shows you recent TechManiks that you viewed. As you can see at the side here, it has fundamentals in nursing, medical surgical nursing, and it actually goes down to each of like the subjects and concentrations nursing. TechManik.com is wonderful. I'm gonna put some pictures of different stuff like that helped me with that as well, just so you guys can get an idea about that. This really was a godsend for me. As you can see, it shows signs of pregnancy. I went to presumptive signs. It's basically placed through a video as an educational and a regular story, and it like brings up different tips and it gives you like visual cues and ways to remember the information. It's great. But I think it's really wonderful. I'm a visual person. I'm a visual learner. And I will say that PicMonic.com has definitely made me super confident in like certain disease processes that you have to really remember certain things about. There were certain pediatric disease processes that I really didn't feel like I learned well in peds, but I went over it with TechManik, and it was just so helpful, and just it's just amazing. I really think that it would have helped me in nursing school. So that really helped me, and it's very affordable. I was able to get a discount through my boyfriend, thankfully. So I didn't really have to pay for it, but even if you did have to pay for it, it's so affordable. Like, it is definitely worth it. It's definitely worth going over your weaknesses. Like, they have everything on there, and they have it for med students. They have it for, pharmacy people. I just know that I chose the NCLEX route, and it showed me everything that I needed, like from basically everything was separated. It was just amazing. So you can see that I really, really enjoyed it. So TechManik is another thing that I also use, and I would study like disease processes with that. That's helped me with my content along with UWorld. So once I was done with TechManik, after all that, then what else did I use? I would do a charity like 2 chapters a day in order to finish it. But once I was finished with the 21 chapters in the charity, I stopped doing it. And the past week, I just looked over all the questions I had gotten wrong with my charity book. That's all I had done with that. So clearly it helped because I passed in 75 questions. So saying all of that to say, my overall encouragement and advice for people who are studying for the NCLEX, I do believe that you should definitely have a study plan. It does not have to be countless hours a day. It doesn't, because I will definitely say every day, like overall, over the past like month and a half that I studied for the NCLEX, I studied for like around 3 to 4.5 hours a day. So it was never anything that was like completely tedious, like 10 to 12 hours a day. That was not, no. Like, it does not have to be copious like lengths of time. And however I was feeling that day, like whether I was doing all the 2 hours at once and it flowed nicely, or I would separate it, it worked. However it works for you is how you should do it. So don't try and follow other people if they're doing 6 hours a day and it's like a 9-to-5 job. You don't have to do that to, like, you went to nursing school and you were in school every single day. However long you went, 2 years, 4 years, like, you don't have to, for me at least, I didn't have to do that. So that's how I did that. You need a study schedule. Next, what I would say, you need to use a resource. I think that you should use a resource. If you're, I'm running out of things to say. If you are very smart and you really, really do not feel like you need a resource, that's great. But I really feel like having just a study schedule and knowing how I was going to utilize my different resources helped me tremendously. So that would help you too. What's the third thing I will say? Do questions. Do as many questions as you can. Beginning with my study schedule, like right after I graduated, I did like around 75 to maybe 125 or 150 questions a day. My last week, right before, the NCLEX, I just did 75 questions a day because I really just felt like I was prepared at that point, and I just wanted to just keep a consistent level of studying, and I didn't want to like stop and get lazy. I just wanted to keep studying right up until the day before the NCLEX. So questions, because the strategy to passing the NCLEX is learning how to answer the type of questions. You are never probably ever going to see or know any of the questions that you're going to get on the NCLEX, which is why you need to be ready to just answer whatever questions that could come up, even if you don't know the content. And that's where I would say Kaplan definitely helped me, and like their test taking strategies and how to answer questions really, really helped me. So you don't necessarily have to buy this book, but you could look up, the resources that they have online and tips that they have online to, figure out how to use their decision tree or whatever pathways that they have to offer. Because that's really helped me to answer questions. Maybe there were like 2 questions that I didn't know at all the answer to, and I really just had to go back to my question, how to answer questions strategy to help me with that. So that's what I would say with that. In the end, overall, you can do it. I really think that you can do it. My last tip, I guess I would say, is make sure that you relax the day before, because I mean, right now that I look back on it, I'm really glad I relaxed. I got a massage and a manicure and pedicure. I got my eyebrows done, and I just ate food because I like eating, and I just watched TV, and that really helped me feel relaxed. Because to be quite honest, if I had studied the day before and went into the NCLEX and got 75 questions and passed woohoo, I just would have felt like I had wasted my time studying the day before, because honestly, that really would have just felt like just a waste of time, really, because at that point you're not giving yourself time to rest or just digest everything that you have done for however long that you studied. I just feel like it helped me relax. And the morning of, I didn't do anything really, except for look up one, lab value, red blood cells, which I didn't even need it. I mean, to be quite honest, lab values, I don't think that I really had to refer to any in the NCLEX. So to me, I'm just like, I felt like I was over-prepared, but I would say feeling over-prepared is better than feeling under-prepared. And another thing, do not rush to take the exam. If everybody in your class has already taken it and you scheduled the latest date, that's okay. Take it when you're ready, because to be quite honest, although I might have been ready to take it 2 weeks ago, as you saw in the video that I made, I was clearly anxious then, and I just feel like I would have been extremely anxious and not confident, and that's what makes you change your answers. So that's what I will say. You can do it, you can make it, and if I made it, you can make it too. If you pass too, and whatever amount of questions you pass, as long as you pass, congratulations. We're RNs, we're about to save some lives. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.